Hey guys, it's your boy TG and yeah, bring it from the bottom. You're locked into another edition of Goode Got You Entertainment. I got a lot of people to introduce tonight. Normally it's just me and you, Marcus, but this MPG in the other corner, Jesse Hittinger from Front Row Sports, and then we got Cheryl Green from WLST, another view here too during the week, and we had an exciting view Monday night. We went through. Me and Jesse goes way back, 4 flats in the Cadillac, but we don't throw no D's on them. We keep it plain and simple. Thank you guys for coming in. We got a lot to talk about. But is there anything you guys would like to say to start the show out?
Hey, I appreciate you having me on the show. I'm ready to get started.
I'm the same. I'm excited. You know, we go way back. We talk about things off the air. I'm happy to bring them on the air. So let's get started. Let's make it happen.
And you know, I can't leave my main man out. Marcus, how does it feel? We've been through this thing almost all year, COVID or not. We say mask up, but we're not masked up. Well, hey, that's a different story. We're testing, working in the same place. But the main thing is, how do you feel? Now we done work through my Packers. I thought it came all draped up, hat on, everything. Even ordered a cheese head. It didn't make it here quite yet. But the thing is, right now, I can't wear my cheese hat because Green Bay's out. And we're seeing Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. We won't get into that till next week, but I do got a little teaser at the end for you. But how do you feel being right here where we at now?
Well, I'm feeling good. Back to save the day, and you know, GGE, we here.
Hey, it's been a long roller coaster ride, and we almost to the end, but not quite yet. We got a little bit of everything from domestic violence issues in NFL. Well, that's going to be a heated topic because I've been talking to a lot of people all day long. But one thing is, we go recap champions what's happening. Now you understand what happens there because we understand we died last week. We'll see what Deshaun Watson and Matt Stafford. Where are they going to go to? I mean, I see the Panthers showing some kind of air with him. Jason Witten, Greg Olsen, we saw them two claiming their rightful spot on the throne on the other side of the field, off the field, which I mean retirement, which we know their career. A little bit about Kobe Bryant. It's been a year already. Who can believe that, as you must? And then we talk about the Super Bowl teaser, and then about when is it time to hang it up? And we're talking about Drew Brees right now. But guys, we're right here. We're getting right into it, and let's begin. First, I'm gonna start it with a worse note because I want to leave it off on a good note. Yeah. But Chad Wheeler, former Seattle Seahawks offensive lineman. This guy's a mountain of a guy, they would say. African American girlfriend. The subject gets pretty touchy because we all go, what if right now? And it's a bunch of what if questions right now in the world. Oh, well, what if it was this? What if it was the other way around? And we're in 2020. Now, bring it back in memory, 2015. I fortunately met this guy, a really great guy. Greg Hardy went through an issue like this. But the situation was they aired this breaking news 2015 about him abusing, or whatever you want to call it, his wife or girlfriend in that month. And the whole issue, the pictures came out. Everybody's like, oh, why, what, where, how? Crucified the man. But this guy gets a little article on ESPN. And then they break news like 5 days later saying, oh, hey, he beat his wife. I saw First Take and Stephen A going crazy. But situations like this, I'm going to give the floor to you and I'm giving it to our guest. There's one thing I feel about this situation is he beat his wife. I mean, his girlfriend. I keep saying wife, girlfriend. It was horrible. You look at the pictures. I mean, her face looked busted. It like somebody almost beat her with a baseball bat. But this guy's a big dude. I mean, offensive lineman in the NFL. And this guy, she described it as feeling like she was dead. At one point, one of the articles I read today, which was a cited source, and it was really good, ESPN, they say even she said she described the words dead. She described the words as this cruel human being beat her. She laid on the bed with her bruises and whatever not. If no telling how long this would have happened. And he made a damn milkshake. Well, was that a reward? No, this is not a dog treat. No, it's nothing. And he just said, oh, you okay? What in your right mind that even the statistics from the CDC and some other governmental sources says 1 in 4 women in their lifetime, or man, 1 in 7 will experience some kind of domestic violence issue. 1 in 4. That's 4 of us right here. And I'm sure 1 in 4 of us will do that or have something done to us. That's horrible. I mean, my parents told me when I grew up, hey, don't put your hands on a woman unless something's really, I mean, she got a knife, gun, or something. She's ready to kill you. Then you got to do what you got to do. But if it's hands and hands, damn it, you always gonna be more powerful than a woman, unless she's a bodybuilder, unless she's Cheryl, because Cheryl, you got military experience, you might get somebody. But the main thing is it didn't get televised. And the one thing is, it's too much what if. What if he was black and it was a white girl? And that's really horrible right now. We're going through this in 2021. Lord. I mean, that's something my grandparents should have thought about, but they did, and we got here and we're still talking about it over politics. But bring it to you right now. When it comes to mine, Chad Wheeler, he gets suspended, $400,000 to $500,000 bail. He gets I think some charges that really I think he should be in jail right now. But just because he's in the NFL, do you think that makes it right to do whatever the hell you want to do, or should he get punished like the rest of us if we did something?
He should be punished just like the rest of us. I mean, if you look back with the Ray Rice situation, I mean, clearly it was an altercation between him and his girlfriend or fiance that was going at it in the elevator. Apparently, she spit him, and all of a sudden that led to Ray Rice beating his fiance, who is now wife, in the elevator. So it's sort of the same scenario when we look at this situation with this player and his girlfriend just violently abusing her. And once we see that, we feel like you're a human being first before anything, before being a football player. And so when you look at that, it's very hurtful, it's very painful, and it's very detrimental that seeing strong women, seeing strong, beautiful women at that, being abused by their own partner in crime.
Definitely. So Jesse, how do you feel about this? I know it's a very touchy subject across the world right now, and many people are seeing this and going, wow, we're having technical difficulties and visual for us. But if you guys can still hear me, one thing is, how do you feel about this touchy subject? I mean, guys do it all the time and sometimes get away with it. And some people reattach from their loved ones after this situation like this happens. But how do you feel about it?
I think that it's a very unfortunate situation. I do think, though, that it calls to a deeper problem within the NFL and professional sports in general. I mean, they're claiming that Wheeler mentioned that this was a manic episode, meaning that, I don't know if this is self-diagnosis or not, but or if he has previous problems. But I do believe that, a lot of these professional players, however we want them to relate them to us, and they're just like us, frankly, they are as human beings, but their situations and their lives, and this is no way of an excuse. This is a deeper problem in professional sports. And, manic episode or not, obviously not it's a despicable act. And this has been happening not only in the NFL, but across sports. And unfortunately, we probably do not hear about the majority of these incidents. I would imagine that the majority of these incidents are covered up, for lack of a better term, by the teams, organizations, or potentially leagues. And of course, that is something that's not right either. Unfortunately, this goes down to business. And yes, I agree, Marquez. If we're saying if this was a black man, or if this was in a different situation, to be honest with you, I think it probably would have been handled differently. Marquez, you and I were both on in the Rough Riders organization when, like you mentioned before, when we did bring on Greg Hardy, and Greg Hardy wasn't given the opportunity to explain himself. He wasn't given the opportunity. Now, it was a different time. We are allowing some situations and some players to get to speak their mind or hear them on Twitter. But at the same time, Greg Hardy, I will vouch for Greg. He was a fantastic individual. He was not accused. Well, he was accused of the crime, but it eventually was, it was waived. It was thrown out. But I will say that in the passion of a relationship, and I know we've all been in relationships, all of us have fights, and we have to know our limits. And as certain players and the way they're treated and the various things that are given to them and throughout their early college and even high school careers, a lot of these men are not they're not living by the same rules as us as men are. So I believe that, yes, it's incredibly tragic, and yes, there needs to be something done. But I also believe that these players, they need help to help themselves and to help future athletes learn what's right and what's wrong. And their whole lives, they've been having their problems swept under the carpet because they can block somebody, because they can pass, because they can shoot a 3-pointer from damn near half court. This is an innate problem that we, as within sports and our fans, we really truly have to truly hold the players accountable and hold the media accountable and truly just and say it's wrong. But also, the players, they are due their due right in court. I think they all deserve an explanation for what they have done, for what they have perceived to have done. Everything needs to get fleshed out and figured out. But I do believe there is a major problem in sports, not just with Chad Wheeler, not just with Tyreek Hill, Josh Brown, Kareem Hunt, Ray Rice, Greg Hardy for that case, but every situation is different and it's unique. But frankly, from what we're seeing in sports, there is a problem that needs to be dealt with.
Oh, definitely. And Cheryl, before we get there, is one of these things we do fall in. They did say about Chad Wheeler is the fact that he had bipolar. I think it was depression. One of my things that I feel I must feel to realize, and most of the things these sports analysts be, he had these, he had this condition, he had that condition. Damn that. The man still got a mind. At the end of the day, he wouldn't have went ahead if there was another 400-pound man standing there. He wouldn't dare put his paws on another grown man. But he see a woman that's smaller, that obvious, if you put fear in somebody, you're going to sit there and you go, he loves me. It's just another episode.
And I think it's very important for us men. Yes, we do get into fights with our significant other, but as a man in general, it's still important to keep your composure in check. Otherwise, it can go chaos and it can create havoc.
Now, Cheryl, what's your take on this? I know it's touchy for everybody, and I feel like I can strangle a man myself because I'm just like, why? I don't know why people do that, but Cheryl.
Well, here are my thoughts. We all have to be accountable for our own individual actions first. And when we understand that we have a problem within our own inner selves, and we're playing on a professional team, any team for that matter, or if we're dealing with someone, we owe that person the respect to say, hey, here's what's going on with me. Somebody on his training team or within the Seattle Seahawks should have known he was bipolar or whatever issues he may have. It shouldn't be a secret at the time of an incident. And now we're coming to the aid to say, well, here are the significant issues that led up to this point. Now, we know physically speaking, women can say, we'll stand toe to toe with a man, but, our body structures will not allow us to go toe to toe with the man. So I believe that if a man have that much respect for his mother, then he should have the same respect for his significant other, whether she's a girlfriend, a wife, or someone else. Knowing. And then thirdly, for every action, there is a reaction. And she has a family just as well as he has a family. And you're talking feelings and respect and all that comes along with that inner relationship. So now you may have two families at war, because I will tell you, I have 5 brothers, and you can rest assured, child, they'd have been there and would have been ready to put their hands on somebody, but it wouldn't have been me. But there is nothing I think a woman could do to a man, or a man could do to a woman for anyone to put their hands on someone. Just walk away. But he was very much in control of what was going on or taking place at that moment within those hours, because if he laid in that bed while that woman laid there unconscious, As he realized, he put his hands around her neck, and when she came to, he stated that I thought you died, and then he still proceeded to come after her. That that speaks volumes to who that person is. Now, I'm going to say this is an embedded trait. He experienced this type of abuse coming up because you just don't come out. Now he's probably done this to other women. They just haven't came forward. It just so happened it got that bad with her. We don't know, It just so happened it got that bad. But this is not the actions of somebody who just do this one time. So I think that the Seattle Seahawks were correct about letting him go. I'm not going to say this is a black and white issue. I believe this is a man-woman issue. This is a young man who totally came out of character, and I'm not sure how sorry he is for, what he's done, but his career, his reputation, all of that is at stake, and by rightfully so it should be. Now, as far as the media coverage, yeah, when the black men, the black athletes were doing all this stuff to their women, they were showing it over and over. I can't count how many times, it came on the news. I just happened to see about this incident on Facebook. So is there a double standard? And is there really a double standard in what's going on in the world right now today? And my question was, when I read the story, was why would he tell her to bow to him? Who is he that this woman has to bow to a man? She didn't bow to you when you met her. You treated her like a woman in the beginning. You're supposed to treat her like a woman until you both call it off and walk away. But to tell a woman to bow because he had money, because of the color of his skin, because of the color of her skin, what was really going on and how much is what's going on in the world, has come into his and her relationship.
One other thing you talk about here, and I agree with all three of you guys, but in one of these subjects, it is the matter of now, since he said he's bipolar, the police reports from TMZ, and some people say, oh, you can't go by TMZ. TMZ is mostly almost, it's iffy, depending on who reports it. But, and one thing they stated, well, now one operation said, she ran to the bathroom. If you can hear somebody breathe, you can't see it visually. You can't say, oh, I know she ran to the bathroom, but you can tell somebody's telling the voice. You can tell their expression, their breath, their emotion. And she wasn't, look at her face. You can see it. If I can show the picture, I don't want to show photos because I don't know families are watching and kids are watching. The lace thing, I know they can go watch on their own. But here on this show, I don't want to show something brutal like that because that's, my God, what did she do? I don't care if she cheated, whatever. Y'all both pack bags and leave something. Go to a hotel, you feel that mad. Go to the gym and crush some weights if you got to. I don't care what you got to do. But in the situation like that, she ran and locked the door to her bathroom. One thing I want to see police when they got there, let's see that body camera. Release that to see how he was. So see if he was all in distress. See if he was crazy and looked out of the normal. Let's see what that looked. Or was he just like, oh, okay, she's in there. What was he? Who? What? Why? But hey, we probably won't never know that because they'll, like they do everything, sweep on the rug.
Well, Marcus, what you said was he displayed he's bipolar. Well, that should be in his medical records. Not that, I understand HIPAA, but at the same token, the team should have some information on that because that should be in his medical records, so it should be disclosed. You can't just say I have a medical condition upon action.
Now I want to see one of my huge pet peeve of the NFL is in major sports outlets. Let's see how long he stays out the league. Let's see how long he gets banned from the league. Because once, this is total thing. See what happened with the other guys. Not even that. Look at other incidents. It's not a black and white thing like Cheryl said, but the way sports are putting it and the outlets are kind of like, oh, it's that type of thing. Let's see if he stay out. A different scenario, but let's go to Michael Vick and see what he did. It's not even nowhere near women and dogs. None of that. It's a scenario of violating some rule. See how long you be out, and look at how long Michael Vick The damn dog's on his property, and he got put out. 2007 was the initial investigation. He not touched the field, but Virginia Tech did him wrong and said, "Oh, I don't think so." The man did all the damn records he could do at VA with Frank Beamer there. But the fact is, it took him from 2007 to 2021 to touch Fox. Now, if this joker come back and I can see him come back next season. I can see him going, "Oh, we don't even know what happened," and he'd be back on the field. But every commentator will be chirping about it, and all you gotta do is wait.
I don't know if he'll be back on the field next year based on the 3 charges.
Oh yeah,
and it depends on the young lady. I can't recall what her name is. I think it was Aaliyah. It's based on when they go to court and what actions take place from there. But I don't think he'll be back in a year.
Yeah, he might be. I might give him 5. I may touch 5 if that depends on the charges that he got, because some of the charges are heavy. I think 3 charges that he got. He should have more than that. I mean, gosh, he should have almost attempted murder. He could have killed. He literally could have killed the girl when she was unconscious. How did he know if she was dead or alive? He didn't know. He was out there making a banana smoothie like it was a joke. I wish somebody would get a hold of him, but that's not it.
Possibly happened.
Somebody get a hold of him and do what he did to her, and let's see what the result is. But we ain't gonna go that far. But let's get to a more positive note. I was furious all day about that. I talked to many different people. I even talked to Cam, wherever the hell you at, because I know Cam works. He works late. I talked to him today. We talk almost every day, and Cam said he has to work. I understand the grind is pretty hard right now. We don't know each week where our jobs may both be at. We might be sitting at home next week. COVID's doing numbers. Even the vaccine that people are taking, that thing's dropping people off by numbers with the first dose. She didn't get to the second one. But that's still in trial. But let's recap. Champions, what's happening? You didn't even know I was going to do that last week. But let's get on to the first point. The Tampa Bay Bucks walked into Green Bay, way down from the dirty South, almost from where Jesse's from the dirty South, all the way up to the top near Canada. I was decked down in Green Bay. I had the hat on. I had the scarf on. I had everything on. Even those some sweaters, shorts you got me, I did work.
Well, maybe if you'd had on your cheese head, it'd have made a difference in how the outcome of the game.
Cheryl, Amazon and the company, the foundation, whatever that is, they got my address wrong. And I was so mad when I talked to them. I said, first off, my team lost. And second off, I ain't got my cheese head. And guess what? You're making me think I got to make a phone call later. It's been 4 days and I still ain't got my cheese head yet. They might be deeply sad too. I got a new shirt coming out. But the one thing is, Tom Brady and the Bucks didn't do what they did last time. And what I mean, the last time we all seen in week 6, Aaron Rodgers and company were dominated, blasted. They were everything. Rodgers threw 2 interceptions. The whole 9 came out. This game was different. It turned over. The real number 12 came out. We always know Tom Brady won. He's the best player at all. Cheryl, you heard me say this, and I'm going to say it again. He's in my top 10. Yes, Jesse, you're gonna get a little high. But top 10, and the reason why I say he's in my top 10 because we praise him too much. We praise quarterbacks too much. We do it to every team. Look at the Chiefs. We praise them too much. But did we not forget that Tom Brady had 3 Super Bowl rings won by who? Adam Vinatieri, the veteran kicker that's still in the league. But we're not going to bypass it. No. But we're not going to bypass that. He lost the game to the Bucs, but Green Bay's defense ultimately gave it up. He lost. If that was the case, that Green Bay would have got them turnovers and scored something, they would have won that game. Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions in a championship game, but we still hold him to the highest standard. After he threw 3 interceptions and almost over 300 yards, we're not going to bypass it. It takes a receiver to catch them passes. He can't throw one and catch it himself. He wish he could. But in the same sense, I know people go, well, you're hiding. No, I'm not. The viewers are probably like on my Facebook page, if I can see the comments, oh, you're probably hiding. No. I got on Facebook that night and told you how I felt about my Green Bay Packers. I was so pissed off because Aaron Rodgers didn't run the lousy 8 yards that he could have. But then I understand he could have got caught by the linebacker and that defensive player. Understand that. But damn all that, the game on the line, you better run it.
What do you mean? Wait a minute. Back up. You said Aaron Rodgers could have ran the 8 yards. You talking fourth quarter? Is that what you're talking?
He could have ran that, and there's plenty of opportunities. Not even that. The bad man, Devontae Adams, Missed some passes. What about the flicker to the outside? Normal play Green Bay run. Normally 75% of the time, Green Bay does it on the goal line. Devontae, supposed to have sticky fingers, didn't do it.
Yeah,
That's
but you're gonna have mistakes throughout any football game.
Cheryl,
But
you are a Brown
This is-
fan, Cheryl. I don't
No,
know.
no, because we're gonna send you. We're gonna link in with Green Bay, in the off season, and we're gonna work with them. The Browns are gonna work with them. But however, when they were right there about to go, what was the yardage again?
I think it's approximately 10 yards. It was on the
Oh,
goal
okay,
line.
okay. As long as you remember. Now he could have got at least 8. It got, it could have been 2 yards from the goal. Now he could have done that, but that's where that finesse player comes into play. I think he don't think that he's supposed to get a hit, and he's always supposed to throw the ball because I mean, how often do the guy run? And it was a little cold out there, so he should have ran.
I think he should have ran as a Packers fan, but let's talk more about, like you said, Marcus. I'm going to give Jesse this question. Was it more Aaron Rodgers' fault for not? I mean, he was huffing and puffing on the sideline for his team. Give me a turnover. I thought it was Greg talking. but the other thing was the fact that, was it Matt LaFleur? Because our head coach did not put our team in success either. Even though they're players, the coach can also write the plays up. But like Coach Mook said, if I tell you everything, why do I need you on the field? But
what about though? Well, Marquez, I got it, and I understand you're the biggest fan ever, cheesehead that don't have the cheesehead. But however, y'all got 2 interceptions, 3. Did y'all do anything?
That's what I'm saying.
And 2 of them came late in the game.
As a Packers fan, I feel that same way. I can't even tell you nothing else. It's my fault. When I was looking at the game and we lost the game, I said, okay, everybody's like, you're hot. And I'm like,
you see that you see that Green Bay Packer meme?
Oh no, she didn't. Oh no, you didn't, Cheryl. But the thing is, back to you, Jesse, saying, do you think it's Aaron Rodgers? I mean, defense showed up, but how much defense can really show up if your offense is not turning the ball back to, like, you got 3 chances to score, damn touchdown. I mean, at least get 3. You can get 3 field goals. That's the game. No, you didn't even want to do that. You want to say, no. Let them keep going. Tom Brady's like, okay, give me the ball back. All right, you don't want it. Here you go. Matt LaFleur, this is the thing I have against him, and I'm going to ask you why Matt LaFleur may be the option. Mm-hmm. He, in the situation where the game did get to the nitty-gritty, which one play did not determine the game. That's what I always said. Jaden Henderson said that. But the thing is, Aaron Rodgers got to a 4th and goal. Now, why the hell did Matt LaFleur, with Aaron Rodgers on the hot seat? I mean, his legacy in the hands, because now he's 1-4 in the championship of the NFC. He's a bad man. Why did you not? And the last thing, Cheryl, too, and that's one thing I'm going to tell you before I get to Jesse, is one, that on the goal line, you turn the ball over, you don't get the first down. You got the Bucks with their back against the wall. You catch another interception, bang, that's the game. But no, you went and kicked the field goal. Oh, we got 2 minutes left. We're playing the damn Bucks. And I can tell you, I was running across my living room. I had my bottle of Tito in my hand because I was ready to get toasted after the game if we had won. But no, I'm packing my jersey up tonight. It was already packed up. But Jesse, who do you think's at fault for that? I mean, defense did play horrible. As always, Green Bay's had that thing in the last 4 drafts. They want to go pick up a damn quarterback.
Well, I would say, first of all, Marquez, I'm ashamed that bottle of Tito's wasn't opened and finished, because that game was stressful, and I could only imagine. Look, being an Eagles fan, I think I had 3 bottles of Tito's and some, maybe some tequila on the side for all of our wonderful, the Visor, Coach Peterson's decisions. And speaking of the Visor himself, Coach Peterson, I'm actually surprised in a year that everybody's going for it. Everybody's going through it on 4th and 7 halftime in positions that they're not supposed to be going for it. You're on where you need to be, and you have Tom Brady on the other side of the ball. Now, albeit it's not the Patriots, and maybe the Packers thought that we are playing the Patriots. We're playing the Bucks, and maybe Tom isn't as special as he could have been with those years with the Patriots. I think we're learning a little bit about Tom Brady is wherever you put him in. I'm not the biggest fan. Traditionally, I wasn't the biggest fan. I'm an Eagle through and through, like Cheryl, like with the Browns, and you guys and you, Marquez, with the Packers. And I think that in a year where everybody's going for it, the fact that you don't go for it, it says one of two things. The first thing it says is that you really trust your defense. And then the other one, it says that maybe that's not the Tom Brady that came back in all of those times, time and time again. But if you're thinking that as Matt LaFleur, I really think that he might be manic, because at the end of the day, you play to win. You play to win. And when you're on the field, when you're on right about to score against the team in the final remaining minutes of the game, you play to win. Yes, they could have stopped them. They would have had their backs against the wall. And then again, like you said, it would have advantageous for, those guys to stop them. But look, there's 2 minutes left. He really trusts his defense. I got to give Matt LaFleur, like everybody appreciates you trust your defense. I'm sure the defense was, a little questionable, but at the same time, they were like, all right, we got this, guys. He's believing in us. But I think as fans, and I think the overall opinion, if you cut a pie, if you cut it right in half, I think the majority of all of us, even not Packers fans, to say this is your time. This is your time to do it. Matt LaFleur, you have Aaron Rodgers. You have everything you need. Go get that, and go get a chance to go to the Super Bowl. But honestly, the way the Packers, Marquez, I'm sorry, but the way the Packers played all game, they were a little apprehensive. They were a little tight, and they were a little scared. They were going against Tom Brady. It's like being in Madden when you're playing against, I'm all right, but I'm like, top 500, 600. You're playing against number 5, number 3, and maybe the country are playing that night. You're going to do some things that are a little, you're going to be a little more conservative, because you want to push it to the end to maybe you'll get there. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe Tom will throw an interception. I think that he definitely played tight, and I think the whole world is used to seeing the NFL coaches go for it, and I think it was surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a dogfight, of which it was actually pretty good to be an NFC Championship. Most of the time, the teams blow out one or another, and you just be like, what is going on? But like you said, one thing I look at is, most people don't, the conspiracy theorists, as you say, conspiracies, is the fact that Vegas has it written out for Tom Brady. Make him the greatest player, the greatest athlete. Because right now it's him, LeBron, and they trying to figure out, well, don't forget Jordan. That's my dog. But the thing is, don't forget that right now, who's the greatest athlete, LeBron or Tom? But the thing is, it mind boggles me that Green Bay played. Well, not really. Defensively, I had gave it up for them.
Well,
anyway.
I kind of see. I like how Marcus, kind of deflect from reality there. Who was the better player, LeBron or Tom Brady or Jordan? No, we didn't even talk about basketball right now.
I know, Cheryl. I understand. But the thing is, it's one of those things we hold them players before we get to that conversation and move on to the Bills and Chiefs game, is the fact that we do hold quarterbacks to a higher standard. For some reason, we put them up in the lights and say, Tom Brady won it. Oh, Aaron Rodgers lost it. Oh, this. But we didn't deflect on – we put so much on Aaron Rodgers, which he did lose the game because he should have threw something. But we didn't forget about Kevin King. That buster in the backfield, let the man run and have everybody from yourself. You played football. Jesse, you've been in front office. You played sports. However, the fact is,
yes, I play sports, basketball too, and ran track.
Cheryl, I won't believe you out. But the thing is, everybody know anybody. It could be me and Cheryl out there. Cheryl could be my head coach, and I could be the janitor. I would have called Cheryl and said, hey, tell your people back up. It's only seconds. Tom Brady all night long during Green Bay, he was getting blitzed, and what he do? He extended his body and launched a balloon in the air. I don't even know what happened. And guess what? Green Bay secondary did what they always do. Oh, let them have it. I'm drinking that Tito with TG and the crew, and we're going to be having a long night.
Well, I'll tell you, I agree with Jesse and all that he said, but I'm just going to add a little bit on Marcus. It was taken for granted. The game was taken for granted that because Tampa was coming out of Florida, they only had like 2 or 3 players that was exposed to, cold weather, extreme cold weather. And the rest of Tampa Bay, they practice in the warmth and they're from the warmth. And they're going to come up there and they're going to freeze. So temperature read in the 20s. So for Tampa, that would have been like a negative. So I did see some, pre-highlights where, Green Bay came out there, you know what I'm saying, to little fans. And I know they had a lot of fans in the stands too. I don't know if they was, doing the COVID thing. But anyways, So they just took it for granted that they were going to win and they were going to freeze Tampa Bay out. So in that first quarter, Tampa Bay came out there and showed us, hey, we're in it. We're in it. And it kind of shook Green Bay. It shook them now. The leaves were shaking. They didn't know what the heck to do. So they had to go back in halftime and regroup. And when they did, they regrouped a little bit too late in the sense of, I think LaFleur just didn't have the trust in Aaron Rodgers to get that ball across that goal line. That's what I think.
I agree with all three you got. I'm a Packers fan, and I can't go, oh, no, it's not right. It's not true. They cheated. Nobody cheated. I hate when the Green Bay fans, and I'm not one of them. I even chewed out other Packer fans. Y'all be like, yo, you chewed out another Packer fan. They were like, oh, they cheated on the pass interference. That man grabbed his jersey and was yanking. I don't care if the refs let them play all season long. He could have just grabbed him up and jerked him to the ground.
But honestly,
Jesse, what do he sound like to you? Because what? I'm not getting. What is Jesse? What does Marquez sound like to you? We can't go back and undo the. We can't go back and undo the L, baby. We can't go back and undo the L.
Hey.
But
There's so many seasons I would have reversed that. I'll tell you that. I'd say Marquez is true. It's true that there was a hold. The guy was holding the jersey. He was waving his wife beater around like this. I mean, he basically had it. I think basically the deal is Tom is a cold weather quarterback. Okay, yes. He might be in Tampa. He might own a boat now. He might be with Giselle and the kids out there in the front yard, but he's a cold weather quarterback. I just came from Boston not too long ago. Their warmest day is about 12 degrees. Okay, so he was ready. That team has played football inside, outside, all their whole careers. These are all professional guys. So I never really bought that, this team's a warm weather team. They're going to come here and get stiff. Here's another thing. When you play at home, it can be an advantage, but sometimes it can be a disadvantage, especially when all year long you're playing with fans, without fans, with fans, without fans. Now, all of a sudden, all your people show up to the game to watch you show up. There's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of pressure.
That could happen. No, Marcus, what's
your take? And pressure bust pipes.
You got that right.
It definitely does. It busted Green Bay pipes, and Green Bay are sitting down, and Tampa's hosted the first team in NFL history. The last time we had this conversation was a couple seasons ago, Minnesota.
Tom Brady's 10th Super Bowl appearance.
10. Like, imagine 10 of them things. And imagine you are deemed one of the greatest players ever. I mean, our kids would talk about, generations would talk about how you went from Michigan, not really, you were in the match of three quarterbacks. One of the QBs get hurt. You come up in the picture like, oh, I'm going to do this. He still didn't have the fundamentals. Look at the draft film. If I could show that, and I could, but I don't want to take that much time. The draft, he was too slow. He just so much he had to work on. The O said, no, I got it. And what did they do? They created the dynasty. And now he's like, Bill, I don't need you anymore. It's like when you get to the end with you don't think so?
Oh, I got it now. He done went from number 10 to your number 1 because you're telling us about all his accolades and how he was, nothing You ain't talking about Aaron Rodgers like that. You talking about Tom Brady. I got it now. So yeah. I know who you going for the Super Bowl win. But go ahead.
Check him, Cheryl.
That, and I might bring Cheryl. I'm gonna definitely bring you back, Jesse. I'll bring you back too for that next week if you're available. I got a lot for Super Bowl, but Marcus, I haven't heard too much from you. Where you at? Pick up,
You ain't got nothing to say. You ain't got nothing to say because you know.
Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, they did horrible job at the end. They didn't play no smash mouth football at all. And Tom Brady woke up and said, "Hey, I'm going to Tampa."
Well, I feel like it's a mixture of both with Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. The reason being is because Aaron Rodgers on that third down play, he was in a position where he could have ran it in for a touchdown, but instead he throws it to Devontae Adams where he was in tight man-to-man coverage.
Double coverage.
But throws the ball anyway instead of setting your team up for success to be able to get a touchdown and make the game even closer, make the game even competitive. Now, flipping over to Matt LaFleur's side.
Wait a minute. You said to make the game competitive. The game was competitive at the end.
It was very competitive at the game. Nobody did nothing.
But
To win the game.
But flipping over to Matt LaFleur's side, I feel like it's his fault because on fourth down, he decides to kick a field goal instead of going for it on fourth down. Reason being, it's not the preseason, it's not the regular season. This is a playoff conference championship game. This is a win or go home game. This is a chance where you could be able to help your team go to the Super Bowl. But instead, it's just the poor decision making by Matt LaFleur and this Packers offense. And so, not to mention that the Green Bay Packers, they had all three of their timeouts with a little bit of time left. And then I can understand why Matt LaFleur, he decided to kick a field goal instead of going for the touchdown, because he was probably saying in his mind, okay, we kick a field goal, our defense can step up, which they had a chance of doing, but Tom Brady and the Bucs had other plans, and they were able to come up with a victory.
They definitely came up, and they'll be hosting the first Super Bowl at home. We talked about this with the Vikings, and the Vikings got swept on their rug, and they didn't get it. But now we got them at home in Tampa. The boats at the dock. I mean, How about this? They said teams won't be able to show up to the stadium but 2 days in advance. They did give them a week, but Tampa's at home. What do you tell somebody you can't go to your own house and practice? That's the thing. But Tampa's at home. AB is possibly playing. This man's been frostbitten and everything. I saw a post the other day. It was so funny. It was like he's been taken out, frostbitten. He's been bit by a dog. Everything. Everything. And this man's still in the Super Bowl. Ow! But he's there. But let's get to the AFC side.
Can I say one more thing about your Green Bay? In reference to the defense and the call that LaFleur made, he had the confidence in that defense. But that defense was tired, you know.
Yeah, it was definitely tired.
They was running tired because every time they got to, when the ball came back to Green Bay, Green Bay gave it right back up. So
yeah, they did.
I don't know why he even thought because in Cleveland we wouldn't have done that. No, but go ahead. Okay,
and it's all because when the Green Bay Packers defense had turned the ball over to the Tampa Bay Bucs, they were in better position to help the Green Bay Packers offense. But then when we saw the Green Bay Packers offense, it was either that right side of the offensive line or that left side of the offensive line that was giving up so many blocks to where the Tampa Bay Bucs defense and Shaquem Barrett or Jason Pierre-Paul was being able to deliver pressure on Aaron Rodgers each and every time again in the game.
They did. The defense did do really good for the defensive front, but to the AFC side, Buffalo Bills mania and Patty Mahomes and his Mahomies. And one thing I did, and we talked about this on another view with WLST, was the fact that the Bill Mania, Mafia Mania, whatever, they didn't even show up. They were too busy at table ladders and cheers, and they ain't talking about WWE. They were out there busting tables, grilling, and doing everything, willing and dealing. And Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to give you a little bit of stats because we talked about this guy being an elite quarterback possibly, and that's Josh Allen. 28 of 48, 287 yards, and guess what? 2 of them things, 2 TDs and an interception. You played like that against who? Patrick Mahomes, toe injury, concussed, came out 6 days later and said, I'm good, guys, I'm good. And he threw damn sure near perfect, 29 of 38. We got, what? 325 yards, and guess what? 3 of them things, not 1, not 2, but 3. And let's not even get that. The running game came in. Defense came in. The Bills didn't even know what to do. They scored 24 points. I'm not going to take that from them. But Patrick Mahomes,
the Bills credit.
Sidearm, underarm, toss it, kick it, you name it. Patrick Mahomes, back to back. He's trying to go get that second
it could have
one.
been a little bit of when they came into the stadium, all those fans that were in there, it was a shock for them, It just kind of threw them for a loop. Could have been that. Yeah, they had like over 9,000 fans in the seats in Kansas City.
These teams COVID guidelines. The Green Bay did have a lot of fans, and not even that. The Chiefs had a bunch of fans. I don't think they're doing no kind of guidelines. I don't think so. I'll be surprised. But I'm gonna give it to Jesse on this one. What was the changes game? I think it's Patrick Mahomes. This man's just bad. And I mean, this guy, that's one reason I think the MVP situation should not go down until the end. Because you eliminate us seeing them in the playoffs. We see how Aaron Rodgers acted. I would have gave it to Patrick Mahomes over Rodgers' name because Rodgers choked on the damn thing at the end of the game, and we saw Patrick Mahomes come out with the injuries and do all he do, and now he's in the Super Bowl again. But Jesse, what's your thoughts?
Marquez, can you hear me? You're a little fuzzy. I just want to make sure you could hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. That was on
Okay.
Marquez's end.
Oh, okay, perfect. So Marquez, basically where I'm at is that the Buffalo Bills, for lack of a better term, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Cheryl can hear me. Can you hear me? Marquez, you guys good? You got it good over there?
Might be having technical difficulties, not sure.
Okay.
Cheryl, can you
I can hear
hear
you.
us still?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you hear me, guys? All right, perfect. So here, I'll just go for it. You just let me know.
Maybe having some
Perfect.
technical difficulties.
So where I'm at with the Bills is
until we get everything back in order. If they can hear us,
can you guys?
They would let us know.
Cheryl, are you hearing them, or is it just?
I can hear them. They're coming in slow motion, but I can hear them.
Okay, slow motion for me
Meanwhile, I think we having some technical difficulties.
So I'll just go. So here we go. So basically, we have this.
Okay, yeah, now I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, so the Bills, as I see, are basically a one-trick pony. And if the pony wasn't running that day, there was no tricks. I would say that, Mr. Allen, the quarterback of the Bills, I think is an incredible quarterback. He has quite the arm.
Yeah, we're good.
He relies on his arm. I think that, and I think for the most part of the season with the good Bills defense, I think the majority of what they were doing, a lot of the problems were hid under the carpet because of Josh Allen's skill set and his arm. I think once you take out, Josh having a good game and you rely on a semi-okay running game with Singletary, who beat me up on fantasy all year round. I mean, I would say if you're going to be with the Bills, just bet on Josh Allen. And if Josh Allen doesn't have a good game, it's basically over. So that's kind of where I was at with those guys. Mahomes is a multifaceted quarterback, lots of talent. And look at the team that Andy Reid has built around Mahomes. I think that the Bills are a team on the cusp. Watch out for the Bills over the next couple of years. They get a better running game. They get someone to supplement Singletary. Singletary to me is not an every down back. If Singletary is a swing back and he's in combination with another back, Josh Allen gets a little bit more. Get a little bit more of some support beyond Diggs. You better watch out. I think that the Bills are really they're the team of the future next couple of years. How are you guys? Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I heard you well.
Okay, good, Cheryl. I'm glad we're with each other. Marquez, how are you over there in the studio?
He's gonna blame it on the computer issues, but we know it's all about Green Bay losing. He really didn't want to hear what you had to say in reference to the AFC, and we got it. And Jesse, I agree wholeheartedly everything you said. But although I did go for Buffalo because I think Buffalo has a great defense, And they were playing really, really good. And the reason that I went with Buffalo was because if Mahomes wasn't gonna be 100% and wasn't able to play, there would be no way they could have won that game. But Mahomes evidently took his vitamins and his zinc, and he came on out there and he wrapped up that pinky toe and took a couple of aspirins, and he showed, what a quarterback can do with a little bit of pain. And he took his team all the way, to the championship. So he can't do nothing but, say, hey, good job, man.
He had his head and shoulders were in his bag that game. I'll say that, right?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But you're right. Buffalo they're going to be something to be. They're going to be the team to be, to beat. Other than Cleveland Browns. But yeah.
The Browns have a future. I will say the Browns are looking good. We'll get there on another show, but I'm liking the Browns this year.
Yes. Okay, Jesse, it's on you.
So basically, I'll carry the show, Marquez. I don't have the awesome the background like you guys do. I don't have all the bricks. I have a bar behind me that might work out, but so we can figure out their technical difficulties. Cheryl, what do you think as far as the AFC game, beyond the difficulties of the Bills? Was there anything else that you might have seen that was a difference maker beyond the Chiefs excelling, Andy Reid calling a good game, Mahomes making the right passes? Was there anything else in there that might have turned the tides in that game?
What I saw with the Chiefs, I saw that they played together. And they were communicating. And I believe that was the reason that they won the game. And plus, they came in with confidence that they could win the game. The Bills, I don't think they so much had confidence to win the game. But at the same token, I think that the Bills, they weren't unified. They weren't the Bills that I saw the week prior that played Baltimore. They weren't the same team that I saw. So I didn't think right off the bat, let me back up. So right off when they first came out, when they got the 3 points and they got the 7 points, I was like, oh, wow, Buffalo's on the road. They hot. They ready. They are ready. But then I saw them come apart. And I was like, I don't think they're going to win this. After Pat Mahomes got that first touchdown, I think it's over. It was over. And I saw the strength and the confidence that was put in that team, or either they just came together and said, hey, we just fell short a little bit, but we're going to be okay. Let's stick to the game plan. And I think that that's what they did to win the game. And I saw Buffalo just come apart.
I did. I saw them come apart. I saw the whole team. The whole team knows how good Josh Allen is. They do. Yes. And they believed in him, and it's worked throughout the entire season. And I saw that as soon as he showed a space in the armor or a bit of a weakness, the entire confidence of the entire team started to go down gradually throughout the game. And for them to see that, Josh wasn't able to overcome some of the problems throughout the game, you could slowly see the doubt creeping over the entire team, the play calling, the throws, and Josh Allen just frankly trying to do too much. And we know what happens, and hence the interceptions and what happened and losing the game ultimately. So I do agree. Marquez, are you back? Do I see you're back?
We are back. I had to do something. I don't know what happened. We were watching, but some technical difficulties and to the viewers, I'm very sorry because I couldn't. I heard you guys. We were like, hey, we hear you. And I'm like, I don't think you can hear us. But one of the things here is I heard what you're basically saying. I got my phone. My notes were on my phone, but basically, can you give me an insight where you was at? We were hearing some, but it was going out for us.
Cheryl, you want to give them a little bit of a breakdown of our show, little pop-up show we had?
Yeah, sure. Welcome, Marquez and Marquez, to Goode Entertainment. You're on with Jesse and Cheryl.
Sounds pretty good, actually.
I do like it.
Yeah, we were talking about Buffalo and what we saw in them as far as the breakdown
Okay.
and where we saw issues from the quarterback to the players, confidence. And then we talked about, of course, how we saw KC coming out very confident in their ability and in the diversity, if that's a word, of Pat
Sure.
Mahomes and working with his team. And I think he utilized the whole team, whereas Jesse said it so eloquently. Josh Allen just kind of tried to take it and put the ball on his back and win the game.
Well, yeah, I would say in that part, and again, sorry to you guys, y'all did do great. I did hear you, and it was like it was almost planned, but no, it wasn't planned. But just love you guys. I wonder why me and Cheryl are on WLST. You gotta carry a show when somebody's not there.
And then also to add a little bit to that, I think the biggest key point of how the Chiefs was able to turn this game around and against the Bills was special teams. It was special teams where the Buffalo Bills, they punted the ball to McCole Hardman. McCole Hardman, he coughed the ball up. Buffalo Bills offense was able to gain momentum, score on that Buffalo Bills drive. Then when the Chiefs special teams went on the sideline, Patrick Mahomes actually had a pep talk with McCole Hardman and said, "Hey man, we've been down this road before. Let's be ourselves. Let's gain momentum. Let's have momentum on that side. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it going." And I think that really amped up the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And once they were able to score tons amount of points, the Buffalo Bills offense couldn't be able to stop them.
They didn't stop them all night. It was one of the things, like you said, Cheryl, came out very confident. They did their job. They didn't do too much more. You know how some players get out there and they're like, "Oh, I gotta be the hit guy. I gotta be the MVP of the game. I gotta win the game." No, Mahomes did what he had to do. Defense did just enough. And guess what? They came out the game. Now, I don't want to get into Super Bowl stuff because that's what I want to go to. But and that's just what you see, Cheryl. You throw it around when you talk about them kind of conversations. You want to go there, but I got another week, and if I throw this content out there, you'll be here next week like, But so, do you think it's Andy Reid giving the Chiefs the knowledge and everything to do what they got to do to win the game, or do you think it's Patrick Mahomes just that damn good? This man comes out there every week, and he's just like he could be down 40 points almost, and somehow he underhand, side hand, toss it, grandma roll. I don't care what it is. This man decides that, I'm gonna win the game. I promise you that.
And then on top of that, you also have to give credit to offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to utilize Patrick Mahomes and be able to use Patrick Mahomes within his strengths and abilities to let other players around him be able to fulfill their own talents. And I think that's a big key part of why the Kansas City Chiefs offense is really that good and really that dominant.
And guys, I really do. I think, look, I've had a lot of experience as a Philadelphia Eagles fan with Andy Reid. I always had a lot of respect for Andy Reid. I think one of the biggest things here is you got to see Andy Reid in Philadelphia with, frankly, a team that doesn't have a fraction of the talent that the Kansas City Chiefs do. And Andy took them to multiple back-to-back NFC championships and a Super Bowl and almost pulled off that Super Bowl against number 12. And I think the biggest factor here is Andy now, and I'll be honest with you, I'll be quite frank, and I think a lot of Philadelphia feels the same way. We weren't the biggest Donovan McNabb fans, okay? And I will say that Andy Reid, with a quarterback like Mahomes, If he had Mahomes in Philadelphia, we're talking multiple Super Bowls back to back to back. So I think it is certainly a combination of Andy Reid as a play caller, as a communicator. Communication is everything. As a communicator, as a screen pass team, be able to deal with the rush and toss it off to one of your fast backs and let him go a million miles an hour down the field. I think it's play calling, and I think it's having a quarterback like Mahomes who has the gusto, he has the communication, and he has the overall the oversight, the macro angle on his team, unlike I've ever seen. And I think a combination between Andy Reid and quite frankly, a future coach in Patrick Mahomes. There's two coaches on that team, and I think that's going to be the difference maker in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to try to go to the Super Bowl, but I think that Andy Reid's knowledge and with Mahomes and the magic that they have and they've created, I think can beat Tom Brady and Arians. I do, and I will. Mark my words.
Well, I see you call it first, and we'll see. Not only the Bucs host their first at home, first team to host a Super Bowl, but we'll see them go through the old time to new, and it's a new era versus old era, and Tom Brady and the boys.
The past versus the future.
We will see that, and we'll see is Tom Brady's in his era with all the rest of the QBs. Is it time to move over and give a new king his spot? Will Patrick Mahomes be as crazy? We will see coming up on the Super Bowl. But the new another conversation right now, Deshaun Watson claiming that he wants out of Houston. He says, I'm done. I'll pack my bags. And it's somewhere. I don't know where he's going. But I see the Panthers looking at him. And it looks what the Panthers want to give up. I'm like, okay, you're going to go give Teddy Bridgewater for Deshaun Watson. And you kind of like the little Spider-Man meme where they both point at each other. That's what it looks like. Because both of them got the same characteristic. Just Watson's a little bit bigger than he is. But I haven't really seen Watson produce that much in Houston, but he didn't really have that many weapons. He had some older team. It's kind of like you jump into a management position, and when you get there, oh, I'm gone. Everybody else say I'm gone. You where do I start? And now Houston has to hire a new head coach. In the same sentence, they're doing all of this. Quarterback wants out. J.J. Watt says I'm trying to leave, and then your head coach comes in like, where do I start? And he's about to get into a huge headache. But I'm gonna drop it to Cheryl first because I haven't gave her the moment at first. I always put you at the end like that, Cheryl. I don't mean to, but it just happened. But do you think?
I don't mind bringing up the rear.
Do you think Deshaun Watson would get anywhere? Like, will he be best just staying in Houston and trying to make a career, or should he try to just get up? It's basically saying, oh, if I get upset with a team, so if I go to Jesse and I get upset because he's my boss, I'm just bye, Jesse. I gotta go somewhere else. No. You got to sit there and collect your money and make something out yourself. Nobody wants a scrub. You came in a scrub, and now we about to buy a scrub for a bag of chips and some grease.
Well, I think with Deshaun Watson, that goes back to respect. He was told that he would get the opportunity to help pick the next coach. And the team reneged on a promise that they made to him. And some people take people's word for face value. And so when they look to get a new coach, he said, hey, I want out. But then there's two other teams. Evidently, he was maybe the go-to person or was going to be that franchise player for the Texans the Houston Texans that they promised him that he could be there when they decide to choose the new coach. I don't know. But however, you got two teams looking at him right now. And those two teams are Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. And they're looking to pay a lot of money for him. So he's going to land up in one of those two teams where he feels like he can get the respect that he deserves. And sometimes, sometimes you can see it's not going to work. It's working for right now, but in the future, it's going to just make ways for a bad team. Bad communication, the whole aura is not good. So go ahead and cut your ties early and get somebody in that you can work with, and you can build a team around your team, build a team around your players, and let somebody else have them and let them build their team and let him, just start over fresh.
I like that. And one thing I don't like about the Dolphins, if that does go that way, I'm going to hand it over to Jesse after this, but the Dolphins don't have the security to put a quarterback. They go from Fitzmagic, then they go over to Tua, and they don't have that security blanket. You go over there, you might get benched to a 50-year-old quarterback sitting on with arthritis and trying to figure out what he want to do. But Jesse, what's your thoughts?
Well, I will say I don't know if the Jets are that much better of a situation, Marquez. I think that that's a toss-up. I will say that the Texans, the problem with the Texans isn't just this year. It isn't in the offseason. It's been before, it's been a couple years. We saw it when Hard Knocks came out, and they were highlighted on Hard Knocks a couple of years ago. The entire organization is it's a bit like arena football, to be frank. It's all over the place. It was a circus show. I think the players within organizations want to feel safe, want to feel like everyone's on the same page, and they want to feel like their vision is going to be realized at least over the next couple of years. And as Cheryl said, I think that taking away the option to choose the coach, when you tell him he's going to choose the coach, and that's going to potentially affect the rest of his career if he decides to stay there, I think is a major decision. So I think that reneging on that, like Cheryl said, and taking that opportunity away from him and his future, as well as all the problems he's dealt with at the Texans, if I were him, I would stay far away from the Dolphins and the Jets, and I would continue to pound on my agent's door to see what other opportunities I do have.
Jesse, he might get the opportunity to go play for Green Bay.
Oh, we don't want that in there. Contract extension. But Marcus, as you heard some of Cheryl's nonsense and delusion coming, and you heard Jesse and his Eagles talking all their smack. What do you think Watson should do? Like, I mean, the guy's not the bag and the chips. Some people think they the bag, chips, and the grease. He's not even a label for $1. What you think?
I feel like Deshaun Watson should be able to stay in Houston. Like, I can get Deshaun Watson's frustration of not having his number one star wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, who got shipped over to the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray.
Yep.
Not being able to utilize Will Fuller as he's able to, even though Deshaun Watson this year was able to complete over 70% of his completed passes. I think with Deshaun Watson, it is important for him to maintain his composure, maintain his calmness, eliminate his frustration, and just hope that for the NFL draft, the Houston Texans can get somebody that good that's sort of relatable as DeAndre Hopkins, that can help build around Deshaun Watson, build around this Houston Texans offense, and just being able to evolve.
They do got to build around on whichever team he does go to. If he's staying, it'll be an ugly show for them. But let's get to the nitty gritty part. We say we don't want to go into Super Bowl stuff, and some things sometimes have to be cut. But the Super Bowl is Brady's bunch, and you know what I'm going to. Brady and the bunch and Patty Mahomes and the Mahomes. Will this be a battle of a lifetime? But we see this over history. We just seen some great matchups go away. We see Peyton Manning get the ball hyped over there. We just seen the Panthers go all the way and blow it up at the end. We just seen some teams, Giants, do what they do during their runs and do their stuff. And we just seen some teams, the Eagles. Sure, we ain't got to you quite yet, but your time is coming. I promise you that. Maybe next season, as they always say to everybody. But the thing
12 and 5.
Marcus, I'm gonna start with you first. Do you think this will be a matchup of lifetime? Like we see these matchups, like we go, oh, Tom Brady versus him, Tom Brady versus a veteran. But now we see new school and old school. We see this, but what would you kind of give for this game right here? It's a lot to be on the line.
It is a lot to be on the line, and I would say it could potentially be a game of a lifetime because you have two stellar quarterbacks that has the accolades, the assets of winning it all. Patrick Mahomes, he won the Super Bowl, his first Super Bowl last year Tom Brady, he's been in the game for a very long time. He has 6 Super Bowls, so it's very interesting to see how this Super Bowl game, this Super Bowl matchup will pan out, and I think it's going to be very hard knock.
It will be very hard knock. So we heard from him. Hey, Jesse, I'm gonna put you at the bottom of the barrel. I'm gonna go to Cheryl for this one. But we heard from it all, and then we know Cleveland's not there. We know my Packers not either, and we both wish we could play in the Super Bowl. But for this game, new school and old school, two different types of quarterbacks. You got Patrick Mahomes that can go do anything. He can throw it from the nosebleed, or you got Tom Brady that can get rushed, which I know a lot of people like to blitz against Brady, and it don't work out. But this game, how much you think is on the line for this game?
I don't think it's a lot on the line, but let me just say this. Being a Cleveland Browns fan, and, we did lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, so we have rallied around, the Kansas City Chiefs, and we know they're going to win it. Old school, new school, the baby goat versus the goat, the kid versus the dad. It's going to be hopefully a good game. Both teams are going to come to play, but I think that Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to come with basic fundamental football skills because they were there last year. Tampa Bay, although Brady's been there, 10 times, 80 times? Tampa Bay, that team, this is their first time coming into the limelight. So because they're at home, they feel like they got something to prove, and I think that they're going to overplay themselves right out of the game. Do I think it's going to be the greatest game of all times? I don't think it's going to be the greatest game of all times because there's been about 18 other games that was like really, really great. And the one that does stick out to me was the Rams and the Titans. And that's when the Rams beat, the Titans. And what is his name?
Kurt Warner against Steve McNair.
Yeah. He reached his arm out, and he was like 1 yard away from the goal. And I think that was probably the greatest of all times right there. And of course, the Titans lost the game. So I believe that, it's going to be a low-scoring game. I can't say if it's going to be a 3, 5, or 2-point game, but it's not going to be a blowout because, like I said, both teams are going to come with it. Although the home team is going to have the home team advantage as far as the fans support, but there will be some Kansas City Chiefs probably out in the parking lot, doing a bandwagon thing. So it's going to be a good game, and it's going to be a game because of the age difference in the quarterbacks. But let's not make no mistake about it. It's not all about the quarterback. It's about all those players who's going to help that quarterback or that either that quarterback help them players to get that W.
Definitely. And on to you, Jesse. The one thing is we got all the marbles on the table. You played all these games. You went through COVID protocols after COVID protocols. They said you're clean. And then one week they said, no. They said, I don't know. Wait till you get off the bus. I got to check the temperature again. Put your mask on. It's going to go through the air. Even the governor, even the whatever, the government officials even stating that they're going to have an outside mask mandate in Tampa for the game. So you'll be sitting in the Super Bowl in probably 80-degree weather, strapped up with a mask, and you'll be out there having the ambulance not assisting the players. They'll be assisting some fans. Roger Goodell's going to be there. What does that mean? I don't know. But I do like this before we get to it. We are going to have a lady, the first lady official, really huge. A lady making a judge of a game that could be. It could be one of the controversial things that we've seen over the years in games where we go, oh, that's pass interference, and everybody's breaking TVs and elbowing people and all this stuff, and then you can be the call. Oh, that was a great call she made. We can be talking about her not next week, talk about the week after, and go, oh yeah, she made a great call. That was pass interference. That should have been. It could have been anything. But how do you feel about this game? A lot of history being broken, and not only women are coming and breaking the records. We did have throughout playoffs. I want to say that, but right now we're talking about this. How does this game rank to you? A lot of things are on the table.
I think though, I actually did a little research. I was interested to see because I was like, we have Tom Brady against Mahomes, old school, new school. You have Tom Brady, 10 Super Bowl appearances, probably, I mean, certainly played more Super Bowls than some starting quarterbacks played games. And then you have Mahomes on the other side, fresh off of a Super Bowl win, doing things right. They're both doing things right. I think it's really going to come down to, and I don't know how good of a game it is going to be. None of us will know. It seems like a great matchup. I do, though, think it's going to come down to some specific players. I think last game, the emergence of Fournette, the running back, and the ability for him to be a game changer, to have a 20-yard run bouncing off of 4 guys. There was a chance. We thought Fournette wasn't coming back into the league. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he was doing 2-yard runs for the majority of the beginning of the season. Again, fantasy. He screwed me on fantasy so many times. Now, last week I didn't pick him, and then he has the game of his life. I mean, to be honest with you, it's going to be about individual performances. Can Kelsey get open? Is he going to be a big target for Mahomes? Is Fournette going to be able to find the hole? Is Brady going to be able to be flustered by pressure? It's all of these things happening. Now, I actually did a little bit of research, and I'm just going to tell you some quarterback matchups in the Super Bowl, and I want you to let me know, Marquez and Cheryl, I want you guys to let me know what you think, how this game lines up. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to go, and then you guys let me know. Here we go. Cheryl, we had yours. Kurt Warner versus Steve McNair. Troy Aikman, Jim Kelly. How many times did that happen? Tom Brady, Donovan McNabb. John Elway, Brett Favre. Joe Montana, John Elway. Okay, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. Terry Bradshaw, Roger Staubach. Bart Starr, Len Dawson. Joe Montana versus Dan Marino. I mean, these are gentlemen, the best of the best of the best, the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks playing against each other. Now, yes, I do believe that certainly Tom Brady is right in the middle of that Mount Rushmore, or maybe on the left side. But at the same time, I also think Mahomes is making his way up to be chiseled into that Mount Rushmore. So I think that this is something that we're all excited to see. I think there's a lot of question marks in the game. I think who's going to be healthy, who's going to be ready for the game. I think, like I said, individual performances will spell out who will win this game. But as far as, is this the best matchup of all time? To be frank, I don't think Mahomes has enough history. How great he is, he doesn't have enough history to really stand up to the Joe Montanas versus Dan Marinos. Now look, in 20 years from now, this could easily be named as one of the best matchups. And if it's a good game, it's going to have a better chance to get there. But for now, I would let some of these other gentlemen on Mount Rushmore take the cake as far as the best matchup of all time.
Well, perfect reviews of all. But then one thing, like you said, is the Chiefs have at least 8 to 9 more seasons with Patrick Mahomes. Picture where we all may be at in about 8 to 9 more years. Like 8, 9 more years. Now, how do you know? The other team, I don't know why people do this. I understand the 4 or 5 year contracts, but you're going decades saying, oh, this guy's going to be healthy, he's going to be able to play. I mean, I think the max deal you should give somebody like 5 years. You don't know where they may be at. COVID might strike and take them out. I don't know. I mean, the other team that I've seen did that in another sport, Bryce Harper did that. And he got like 20 years. Like, how do you get these guys? Where do the GMs and the market gurus sit at and go, I'm going to give him 10 years, X, Y, Z amount. He's going to be a healthy whippersnapper. He's going to come back in here and he's going to hit some home runs in 10 years and he's going to throw some touchdowns in 10 years. I don't know that. But
it's a whole lot of praying, Marquez. It's a whole lot of praying. Is what's
That's true. Yeah, and you know what Jesse said, it made sense. I just thought about this. I think a lot of hype is on Pat Mahomes because he's the reigning Super Bowl champion. If it was another team, I don't think it would be to this level. And you're right, there is a lot of greats, and I think we did the exact same homework because I went back and did mine. There is a lot of greats, and in particular, I do like Terry Bradshaw. And I know he's the Steeler, but I like Terry Bradshaw, him and that Lance Swan combo. So, yeah, I think it's like Jesse said, it's basic fundamentals. It's going to be the who's coming to play and individual skills.
Definitely who wants it more. It's one of those things. We go watch this game and I hope it doesn't be a blowout either way. I hope this. I'm like, I hate games like that. You sit there, you go, "Oh, it's 30-3," and I'm like, "What are we watching? Turn the channel to tennis or something." I don't know.
Until you do turn the channel, and then they come back, like in the Falcons game, right? So we all learn not to turn the channel.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We knew they had that game on.
I think the last 5 years we've seen that happen in multiple sports with the flip of the team.
Like for example, look at the Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons.
Never give up on Tom Brady. That's one
exactly. Never give up on Tom Brady. In that Super Bowl, we thought the Atlanta Falcons, they had a 28-3 lead. We thought, okay, the Atlanta Falcons, they up against the Patriots. Oh, they gonna win it. But then looking back, like you said, never count out Tom Brady. Tom Brady was able to rally this team back and then able to finish the game off and win it.
Well, they gotta look at
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that. I think once Atlanta got a certain lead, they took a back seat and they just knew the game was in their corner and they were going to win it. That's what I think. I think if they just would have stayed with the mentality of playing the game, they would have won that game. But because of the margin difference, that was the reason New England was able to come in and surpass them and win the game. Surprise everybody.
It's like, sure, I agree. It's like a horror movie. It's like everybody, it's like you got the guy down and then you walk away. Everybody knows what's going to happen. The guy's going to come back. He's going to hit you on the head. There's going to be 20 more minutes of the movie, right? When they're down, you got to get them down, you finish them, and then you walk away when it's all over. I think, there's, that's kind of how it goes. I really think that, Tom Brady in this game, just to bring it back to this game, you never can count Tom out. I'm not the biggest fan, but I will say that he has the experience, regardless if he looks like a robot, regardless if he wears Uggs, regardless if he looks plastic and there's metal underneath of his skin and he can just tear his face off. Even if he is a robot, no one's figured it out yet. I wouldn't put a win by Tom Brady. I wouldn't put a win by him at all. I know for all the Eagles fans, for all the Browns fans, let's just get a Chiefs win. Come on, let's get a Chiefs win for real.
Keep it in the AFC. Yep.
what they're talking about, and then they're trying to pull it out of me. The pull and give me my take, but it's not gonna happen. I know I would go to, but I do know one thing. Me and Jesse both know about winning. Winning mentality. And that's Rough Rider days. And that's a long time, but we gotta win. I mean, we know about comebacks, so we did that against Jersey Flight, even though that's none of the amount to Tom Brady, but we just saying we had our time of scratching our heads, and me and just kind of looking at each other. We kind of want, I think, choke each other during the game because we like, how did they do this? But yeah, that goes for that. But our last conversation for today, before we'll get to Drew Brees, and I just want to shed some light. It's been 1 year. Now, me and Marcus talked about this when we saw Kobe Bryant's thing the other day. It was like, one more. And I follow his wife on Instagram because she posted a bunch of things of her and her little daughter. And it's like, wow, a year.
It don't even feel like a year.
Like, I mean, we just got breaking news. I remember talking to him last year around this time, and we were like, I texted him, I'm like, TMZ broke news. And they're like, TMZ. Like, everybody goes TMZ. And I'm like, no, I think it's true. And I'm like, I wonder if they got the Kobe Bryant. Because we all got a universal twin or whatever, a name or something that sounds like us. And we go, no, that can't be him. And I'm like, my mom's like, no, that can't be him. And I'm like, I think it's Kobe Bryant. And they're like, I think some gut feeling says Kobe. And next thing you know, my mom's like, no. And then ABC broke it. Then CBS, CNN, then
Bleacher Report.
Then you bring in ESPN. You're like, everybody took their heart drop or stop. This guy won't just in our homes through our TV every day from the Lakers. But he created a dynasty, and one of the great players we talk about. From there, he went to be not only a dad, but a girl dad. And he taught his daughters how to play sports, whatever, and be an advocate to the world about bringing the WNBA out more. Not saying the WNBA won't already there, but shedding light. And this was the activists that we kind of go, yeah, we go some guys, oh, he played sports. He come out there waving to the crowd in the Super Bowl. No, this guy was everywhere doing something. He had the Mamba mentality, but he wasn't selfish. He came out there, did what he had to do, lead the game. He probably cussed some people out. Who did? Jordan did too. But the thing about Kobe, he was a dad. He said, I'm going to step away from sports. And I'm going to go be a dad. And that's what he was doing. And that's what he sadly did, died being a dad. He made sure they were going to practice that day. I don't care if it was about basketball. He was going to go do something that at the end of the day, when we see his photos, guess what we see him doing? Being a dad. And he was being a loving dad in the process, even though he was there. Even the dying words that you heard from his wife and people saying that were going down that plane, that he was telling his daughter, everything's going to be all right. I mean, your dad or however, your mom, whoever that figure is to you, you know the fact that when you're in trouble, however, your parents will tell you it's going to be all right. It could be almost near death, and your mom or dad's going to be like, it's going to be okay until the final moment strikes. And that's what he did till that plane went down that day. And I mean, I don't know how his wife do it, because I don't know how I would do with losing somebody that close. However, a parent, even that much kid like that in a blazing fire. But I just want to shed some light on that. But to move to a more positive note before we get out of here is,
can I just say something on that note? There were other parents with kids on that helicopter as well. So we need to ensure we keep those guys in our prayers as well. And yeah, Kobe was a girl dad, a dad, but there's a lot of men out there who are dads and who are doing the right thing, and it is a very unfortunate situation that happened. But within this year, we had over 400-some thousand people to lose their lives, and they were dads and moms, etc. And and doing the right thing, and not taking anything away from Kobe Bryant, because I was not a Kobe Bryant fan, but it was just a bad situation, and we will highlight and we will talk about things. Excuse me, we talk about things as in people passing, but understand, he was a man and a father, just like, Jesse. I'm not sure if you're a father or,
Not yet.
Okay. But no different than Marquez and Marquez, he is no different than y'all would be, with your children.
Mm-hmm.
And my brothers, are with their daughters. They're all girl dads, So yeah, we definitely got to keep them in our memory. But there were other parents on that helicopter as well with their children.
and I'm glad Cheryl did bring it to me. Let you shed some light too. I should have did that. And most of the time we do that as the lower analysts like myself or the higher guys at ESPN. We do forget the other families. I had it in my mind, but you talk about everybody. I do it too. You talk about the highlights. You don't get the people. And it was other family members, 3 other little girls that played beside Kobe's daughter that were actually really good players. I mean, I'll actually shadowed into their video to see their sports game, and these ladies could have became all of them, not just Kobe's daughter. All them little girls could have grew up. That could have been the next president. That could have been the next congresswoman that changed the world. They could have been something and you don't know. And the moms and dad that was on there and that pilot, even though we all go, oh, the pilot should have done. Everybody go, oh, the pilot should have did it. The pilot should have did it. You don't know until you're, like you say, in the game. Yeah, I mean, and we all got our own life game. Jesse has his game. I have my game. You have your game. Where are we at? We all go, oh, I wish Jesse should have did this, or I wish Marcus should have did this, or Cheryl did that. But we don't know what you see in your game. Like Cheryl said, she pulled something I didn't see in my game because I gave it to Kobe. And I was like, I didn't see the other things. But that's what you gotta, when you're in the game, you get tunnel vision, and you kind of close. And you put your hands like this, you kind of close out everything around you, and you don't give the whole ellipse of that. But Jesse, I'm giving you. You got anything to say on that topic?
Well, I would say this, I think Kobe transcended sports, just like Michael Jordan. I think, though, they did it in different ways. Kobe's a Philadelphia guy. I think a lot of people in Philadelphia really do like Kobe. I think that, when he went to the Lakers, it was easy to hate Kobe. Got to love his, matchups against Allen Iverson and some of the Philadelphia greats. But I think I think it does point on when certain people, especially in a group setting, and when a lot of people pass away at once, we traditionally do end up going to the more famous person, maybe in that situation. But unfortunately, this has happened with professionals in general, and not to sway the topic too much, but when these people, the well-to-do and all these people, they're in single prop planes, they're in helicopters, they're flying in the middle of the night, they're going from one place to the other. unfortunately, these smaller aircraft and these helicopters and all the things they do with these people's very busy schedules, they're flying amongst bad weather conditions, and they're flying to get to certain places with certain, schedules. And I think, if I was in that point, and there's no fault to anyone, and because you have to be where you have to be, and when you're a celebrity, you're used to flying in helicopters and stuff. But I'm a guy that I'm never going to go skydiving. I mean, I have too much to lose, and even in my life, and a lot of people that do so much more, they have way more. And it's all about Marquez, like you said. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a sport they're playing in the tunnel vision. But I just think there's been way too many unfortunate accidents in these small aircrafts and helicopters where I would, if it was me, I would just stay away from it. And I know it's unavoidable at times, but you hear about this too much. It's really unfortunate. Way too unfortunate.
Yes, indeed. One of those topics. Mark, you got anything to say on that?
Pretty much with Kobe's legacy, we seen what he was able to do as far as like just leading his legacy, and not only leading his legacy, but also inspiring not only his kids and players around him that was able to get his aspect, not only just the love in the game of basketball, but just life in general. I mean, you never know when life will hit you, and it does certainly hit you. And so with Kobe, he was a very talented player that all of us used to watching, loved watching. And with Kobe, he was a leader to his teammates, people that grown men who actually look up to him, like Paul Gasol, LeBron, Michael Jordan.
I don't know about LeBron now.
That is a pretty good. I understand where you come from. They were very contested between them. Them two guys. I don't even want to get into that. We'll be here an hour, but I know Jesse has a busy life. I know Cheryl has a busy life. But I want to get to the rest of the topics, but I don't want to hold you all that long. We've been here for a mighty long time. And my stomach's calling me. And that's one thing. And I know everybody's a little thirsty because I ain't had nothing drinking about an hour and 30.
I know you got a cheese head laying around, Marquez. Maybe, I know that's not on your head.
I know that won't be there.
He's deeply sad.
Yeah, I got and gotta be ready and prepared. He knows about it. I got a shirt coming out. Hashtag deeply sad is gonna be in front of it. It's gonna be a shirt next podcast. You definitely will see it. But let me end it on this note. We talked about this on WLST, another view. And Cheryl, I see you wearing the pearls. I see you doing it, and I've been talking about this thing for a long time. And you know how serious I get about it now. The fact that our world has been turned upside down, and you think one man pen can topple an army, and it surely can. And we ripped our nation apart, and racial division, and all this other stuff, and what ifs, and what that COVID, all this other stuff. And we finally, and quote, people will hate me for this, we made America great again. We finally did that in a good way. And that's the definition of uniting America, and that's what it should have been. And we all saw that everybody got their opinions. Red, white, independent, whatever you want to call it. And it's one of the things that we need a person, not saying he's the ideal person, not saying he's the best thing on earth. No, he's not. Not the other guy. Neither one of them. I'd throw them all out the window if I could and let the people just do what they want to do. But this system that we have in America, we think we can have one man do whatever. But in this situation, we don't have the ideal person, the perfect person, but we need somebody to at least bring the nation together. In the moment that we're in a horrible way that we see one guy get murdered. If it's black getting murdered by a white, also go, oh, he shouldn't have resisted. He shouldn't have fought. And then if the black community see a white guy get gunned down by a police officer, we go, oh, we got it. They should get it. And then we just go blow up everything all the way down to the Capitol. And that's sad that our nation's been under that kind of tunnel vision for the last decade almost. Goodness gracious. Surprised about that long. But in the same sense, we're back. we might do something, get at least to the sand. We're so deep down in our own poop, and we still may be after this, but at least get COVID over with. Something. They made it anyway, so I don't care. They made this stuff anyway. They act like they don't know.
That's the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing. But again, I'm concluding the night on that. That so we made America back and great again. Jesse covered his face up. But we gonna turn his own narrative around and say we made it. We kept it. We will make it. Will we ever great? No. We're still in a lot of division and a lot of I'm not even getting there because it's a different podcast. But we're making steps. We're making progress, and it won't. And like when you set up, I hate to say it's a corny one, but when I put my Ring doorbell up today to reset it, when it was saying, "Wait a minute," and then so you know it said, "Rome was not built in a day." That's what the Ring bell told me. Basically, being patient. And guess what? We won't build in a day. We won't torn down in a day. We won't build back up. It won't be built just a day. It takes a long time. Just as long as we get from what our grandparents did, we got a lot of progress we made. Mm-hmm. And now we're here and we're making it for our kids and the next generation to come. But
amen.
Cheryl, have you, I know I'll see you in class. Me, Cheryl, and Marcus, we got class coming up in the next week. Jesse, I know I'll see you and your photos and all the other stuff in front row. Look, Jesse, I want to leave you living front row. Tell me a little bit about that.
Long story short, I was in arena football for a better part of 5 years. Richmond Rough Riders, West Virginia Rough Riders, recently with the IFL's Massachusetts Pirates. We just decided to, I used to work with a couple very important people in Delaware, and we decided to bring the old gang back together. And I'm utilizing the people that I know in sports across the spectrums. Not only were we representing at Front Row Sports professional football athletes, but we just got our first athlete into the WWE tryouts, which is a very tough process, and they do a great job of the WWE of vetting out talent. So we're excited to be representing those guys. We have some boxers, some bare knuckle fighters. I'm trying to do what I've always done, and that's just communicate with the right people and help elevate them to their rightful place. And if I can help athletes along the way, like Marquez, like we've always been doing, you, myself, everybody, when you work in sports, it's for the betterment of the whole. And I feel like it's just natural. What I'm doing now is to help athletes to another level. I was recently at the Tropical Bowl in Orlando. I will be at BKFC, big fight on February 5th. I will be in Tampa all the way up until the Super Bowl. I couldn't get a ticket, so I am flying out Saturday night. But I appreciate you having me on the show. I look forward to being on many more shows. And any way I can contribute, I'd love to. Marquez, I love working with you and Cheryl and Marquez. You guys are great. I think the show's wonderful. As they say, long-time caller, first-time guest. I certainly appreciate the opportunity and look forward to being back on here, guys. It's been a pleasure.
And Cheryl, I'm not gonna leave you out. You my homegirl. You with me and you just. But I can tell you, when we were first in class, we were talking about WLSD, and they were making up all this stuff. And then me and Cheryl got on there, and I said, "Hold on, what a bit." And then Cheryl said, "Oh no, you don't." And that's when and from there, me and Cheryl, from that moment on, we've had a connection that it's like walking past somebody in the street, you bump, you go, "Oh, I'm gonna fight you," and then you go, "Oh, no, I'm gonna be your friend." And so from that point on, me and Cheryl, perfect strangers. We found some kind of connection in sports, and she's like, "I do something," and I go, "Oh no," and she goes, "I do." And they say, "No," I'm like, "Okay, Cheryl, you got it." Cheryl, tell the people who you are. You got an amazing story. You served our great nation. You did a lot. Some military, no, I don't. I go, "Yes, you did, because you did something I would never do. I'd be dog."
Nice house, Jesse.
Thank you. My phone was dying, Cheryl. I didn't want to cut on you, so here we are. Here we go. It's my Airbnb, Cheryl. Don't judge too much. I'm about to hit that bar right over there here soon.
Like that Christmas tree.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we keep that up until the end of February because there's no better time than Christmas in this house, I'll tell you.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I'm Cheryl Green. Been in the Army for 31.5 years. I am a veteran, proud veteran now. When I say military Army, I retired out of, and now I'm currently a grad student at Virginia State University, and just glad to be on with you, Jesse, Marquez, and Marquez, just talking about sports and things that, I like talking about the most.
Well,
So
sure.
thanks for having me, Marquez.
Well, Cheryl, when you say Virginia State University, you better put that D in front of Virginia State.
The
Marcus,
Well, being that, we came in under COVID conditions, so I haven't really learned the history yet. But I got it. The Virginia State, like the Ohio State, I got it.
well, one of the things, me and Marcus go way back, but hey, guys, it's been a blast. Jesse, we already know how we go. Cheryl, you know how we go. MPG, you know. But again, guys, it's been a blast tonight. We probably the longest podcast we did in a long time. We stay an hour, but when we got extra guests, they always welcome into the crew. But y'all are part of the crew. But I'm saying be blessed, guys. Save the rest. Peace, guys.